switch up here from Cuba, perhaps. The sun is shining. Couldn't be better weather for some men's quarterfinal. Cuba in the white, and is Norway in the black tops. And good cover to start things off here for the Cubans. Oh my goodness, a massive rip. What an angle from Noslin.
And we talked about the numbers and how Cuba served Anders. When Norway played Cuba, they served Alayo. It was 33-6, and that finish tells you exactly why you want to stay away from Diaz.
Diaz, the length of Diaz, his ability to hit balls. He's got such a big window. And there you go, right on cue. They're going to serve Anders this first ball. That baby line is not going to work as Alayo throws that back down.
And it was always going to be interesting coming into this match who was going to own the crowd. And immediately Jorge Alayo going to the crowd, come on, come with me. Because Anders and Christian have been a fan favorite here. However, Cuba definitely will hang on to them if they can.
And that is a clean swing right through the hands of Alayo. And yeah, if you can get the crowd on your side, you get a little bit of energy, and Cuba thrives off the energy. Jump serve from Mol. Good pace on that one. It's a tight ball. Sørum with the perfect read on the option, but a little too tight on the dig, and that is easy pickings for Alayo.
And I'm sure there's some viewers at home going, that's a tip. Well, it's not, because in the blocking action, he's got a big wide block, and yes, he can throw it down. He wasn't winding up to hit, so he can absolutely redirect with one hand because it is a block.
Sørum here. Good read from Diaz. Low set. He loves that low set. Ricocheting. It's going to have to come back over. Anders hustling, not able to get it back over the net.
It was really unfortunate. I think as Anders made his run, he had to take a look at the boards, and I think making sure, because these boards aren't flexible. They're light boards, so they're heavy stuff. You definitely don't want to hit them. They've got the 5-meter runoff. You can go a little bit fast sometimes if you leapfrog them, but in that instance, Anders couldn't go back to the ball and get the recovery in time.
Option, good read from Diaz, not enough pace from Mol, and there is Diaz in transition. He has been very effective in transition. High heat from Diaz.
And Diaz is just doing a good job, sitting in his position, and then anything that's got a little bit of time, he's releasing, picking up really well. Norway struggling to put the ball to the floor.
5-1, quick start here for the Cubans. We'll go right back to Sørum. Inside set, deep swing from Sørum is long, and so a 6-1 switch. Denise, not what I had on my bingo card when we started this one.
Not in the slightest, as well. As Norway go into their timeout, Norway were at the better end. In the toss at the referees at the beginning, Norway won the toss, and they elected to take the end that they've just lost 6 points at. And that is a massive kick for, well, it's a big kick for Cuba in the right direction. But for Norway, that is a struggle. And Cuba playing really well in defense. Jorge Alayo making massive pressure at the net as we take a listen into, I believe, the timeout with Adrian Carambulo.
You know, it's interesting watching Adrian work with this team. A lot of times, some of those first timeouts, Adrian doesn't say anything. He lets the boys talk, and you can see the boys aren't talking in English there, so coach can kind of hear what they're saying. He's kind of letting them do their thing, letting the players kind of adjust and adapt early on here. It's just an interesting dynamic to see the coaches in the box now, one of the new rules we've adopted at the moment. And so perfect timeout for Norway, a much needed one as that serve goes long.
Love that. Always nice to see a good bit of dodgeball when you go in. You're going to see quite a lot of that with the serves from Alayo.
So a special stay on Alayo. And trying to go down the line, and surprise, there's Anders with that first block of this match.
You definitely feel like Anders has got the cross court, but then he senses where Alayo's going. He just takes himself across to clamp that line.
Alayo pushing that pass. He'll stay out of the middle. Nice high swing as Mole was covering every other angle, but Alayo goes higher.
Yeah, and that's a big thing for Cuba, working off of Anders' hands. You really don't want to get greedy. And by greedy, I mean going too sharp over the net. You have to just concentrate on off the hands. Beat Anders.
Good dropping serve from Diaz. And Sørum spatches one up the seam. Clean kill for Christian.
And that feels like the first time that we've really seen Norway as we would have expected them to come out. Cuba have done a fantastic job of just getting in their headspace in terms of their offense.
Short serve. Overhead. Oof, what a high rib from Alayo to go, dare I say, over the top of Anders there?
You can say over the top, because I was going to say exactly the same thing. But what I loved was a tiny little nibble that they got from Anders. So the lateral movement was a tiny bit late, and that gave them those extra inches that are so valuable.
8-4. The serve the way of Anders. And that is high and fast over. Noslin in the right spot. Just can't handle the heat from Mole.
I like the fact that they've come out and gone, we're going to go after Anders. We like the game. It was a 21-18, 22-20, so they only lost by 2 points, 3 points per set. So it was close. It was a competitive match. Maybe they didn't win a set, but they liked what they saw.
Poking deep, good pokey shot. And then the reverse 180 poke shot there from Mole over his shoulder. Not many people do it better.
Now, Anders' creativity at the net is second to none. I'm not sure if he touched it or not, but he caught Cuba not pressing immediately after they'd attacked that ball over. Wait to see what kind of defense Norway were going to build up, and they didn't do their running early to the net.
Alayo out of the middle. Nice tap down from Alayo, taking some of that speed off and going with the direction.
I do like the defensive schemes from Norway. They forced him to go towards Christian where he's covering. However, the angles and the deceleration to get that drop shot, that was impeccable.
Sørum from the left. So Diaz making the right read. It's just a little too sharp from Sørum.
And kind of anything you can do, I can do too. Kind of move, just that sharp angle without much pace on it, so that it just falls away from you. And with that tailwind a little bit behind Cuba, taking it away even more.
Heavy rip from Mole, and that's going to catch the back line. First ace for Mole.
Ace, ace.
It's really hard if you're Alayo, thinking that's going to go out to get any kind of lateral movement, sideways movement, to think, could I put the platform to it or not? So he just dodged it and turned to see it smack bang on the line.
This time the way of Diaz, high spinning pass. Diaz poke over, good read from Sørum. Anders has got wheels to chase this one down, but tough break there for Norway. Good hustle, though, to try to keep that one in play.
And that one kind of hurts, doesn't it? If you're Anders right now, he's not getting up off the floor really quickly. It's a lot of effort for no reward. You do have to put that effort in, but they're not in a rush to go back and receive. So they're slowing it down after that high effort and no reward.
Line to line on Sørum. Sørum's going to poke over the top of Alayo. It's got to go high to get over Alayo, but Sørum with the precision.
And interestingly, we've talked about them going after Anders, quickly flipping the switch and going after Christian, but Christian has done a fantastic job of just that calm side out that we know and love.
Alayo a little off, no problem for Alayo as he hammers one into the VIP tents.
Even if Anders had seen that angle that he was shaping up to hit, it's very hard to jump such a big windscreen wiper block into such an angle that he's created for himself.
11 serving 9. Stay on Sørum. Sørum out of the middle. There's a good heat from Christian Sørum, and he's a little slow to get up.
I'm always a little bit worried when Christian lands on his knees or his bum after a hit, because I sort of feel like it's his way of cushioning the attack. Yes. And yeah, so I'm but glad to see he's getting up, but he is a little bit slow.
A little bit slow, and you know, it's Norway taking their time to some of these points. It's a good swing for Sørum, bringing some of that pace early, keeping Cuba neutral or balanced defensively, keeping them honest a little bit there. As you see, Osvaldo Sumaville, our first referee here in our men's quarterfinal. And then Giuseppe Curto on the sand as our second referee. And we talked about serving Sørum, serving Christian. I'll bring up the side-out numbers for this event. As a team, they're siding out at 70%. It's a pretty healthy number. Mol, 88%. It's got to be the highest in the tournament, as all the numbers I've pulled already. And in Sørum, 65%. So really good numbers, but it's a blocking hitters kind of battle. It's kind of a slugfest. Alayo actually leading Anders in blocks per match. He's averaging 5.5 blocks per match. Mol, just 5 blocks per match. Again, great numbers. Great numbers. A slight advantage to Alayo. And so, again, you go into a match with a game plan, you try to see what's going to work, and you have to make those adjustments. 10-11, so the quick 6-1 start from Cuba has shifted, and there is the block from Mol. He said, are you guys talking about that Alayo's leading me in blocks? I can hear you.
And that was an in-system play for Cuba. They're not broken out systems, they're really tidy pass, and Alayo feels like, yeah, I've got this, we're all organized, I can go take a rip, and that's the danger of Mol when you're in system.
And Mol gifting one back. And as this first set has progressed, you can just see Norway doing their data collection, just collecting all the data, taking it all in. Well, this gap has closed drastically, and so how does Cuba adjust now? Alayo, nice rip down the line. And there comes Anders flying in for the option swing.
And what was so lovely ahead of that, as they make the adjustments, is Christian's kicking up the sand, thinking, okay, what kind of calibration do I need to do on a pass? Possibly planning that onto delivery. What kind of curve do I need to get Anders released?
That's such a good point, because people always calibrate the sand before their serve, not that often before the pass. Oh my! And speaking of calibrating, Mol has calibrated up in the net with his eyes and his handwork with another stuff.
And if there is a bit of a weakness for Cuba, you've got to say they do like a good slugfest. And right now they are not winning it. So they've got to remember, I mean, it's not like you can forget who's in front of you, but they almost look like they have forgotten just what a quality blocker Mol is.
13, serving 12, first lead here for the Volley Vikings. Noslin. There's a good shot there, Denise, like you said. Just kind of trying to keep Anders out of the picture a little bit with some of that shot making.
Yeah, good. One, attack a different line so that you're giving them a different defensive picture. And then two, go over Mol. So Christian's got to run because, you know, he's looking a little bit tentative in terms of controlling any injuries that he might have.
Mol. That one trying to go high and deep. Missed contact, I think, from Mol on that swing. It sailed very long.
It was a big move from the pass out to the pin, so there wasn't any chance necessarily for Mol to decelerate. So the craft across the court would have been the answer, but he went for the big rip, and he was just out of system to be able to do that kind of move.
Sørum. Across court there, off the tape, and Alayo frustrated with Diaz. He wants him there.
Mol's just whacked it way out the back, and then they go to Christian, who was really solid at stabilizing it. So you're just going to go, ooh, why? Maybe they think that Anders won't give them compound errors, but they played them before, and yes, you can. If Anders is in a bit of a funk and your block's good, you never know.
That's a great point. It's one of our pet peeves, I think, at least mine. Perfect serve from Mol. It starts on the midline of Alayo and drifts all the way over to the middle of the court.
And it's so good, that first serve after you flip ends, just going, knowing exactly what you need to do at that switch. You've got a side wind, you're putting a certain kind of spin in it, and you're using all of the conditions.
This one closer to Alayo, and Alayo climbing that ladder for that swing down the line.
And the beauty is the way Cuba are talking after this 1 point. What did we just do? How did we just? I really like that. This is the thing to remember. That's so crucial.
15 all. Sørum. Good high snap from Sørum, just using that block of Alayo.
It's a split-second high IQ in the look that Sørum has just before he goes up to figure out what's he got to do. He's got to go high off the hands. Diaz is moving to the line. There's the space. How do I get it there?
Diaz hasn't seen too many inside out, but he rises to the test there with a good swing.
It's nice to serve someone that's been quiet, because then you keep them honest. They can't squeeze the pitcher too much, and then potentially it opens up the space to go back to your target player because they've got to guard their own.
Cuba mixing it up as well. They're going to go the way of Mole. That is massive. Anders Mole, he fades to the left, still finds the height to go angle.
And sometimes the service received takes you behind, but Anders really fought hard to go on the back set there, because then you're swinging into the wind, and then that puts a little bit more break on the ball and allows you to whack that top spin.
Mole, he's feeling comfortable though from the service line. That's a healthy miss. It's a little bit long, but he's already got a couple aces, so you can't fault the aggression.
The line-to-line is always the shortest serve, so potentially if you're just missing it, maybe just go across the court a little bit to give yourself more length.
17-all to go up one. That swing a little too low. Not sure if that ball took off on Sørum, if he miscalculated.
Yeah, there is. We haven't talked about the conditions. We've been talking about them quite a bit this week. Not as windy as João Pessoa, but if we're looking at the palm trees, we're looking at the umbrellas in the background there. They are moving, so it's coming over Christian Sørum's shoulder. So it's a tailwind behind Norway, but also got a little bit of cross in it as well.
Alayo wanted to go for that one. Had a good movement on it, but it finds its way into the net.
And this is where Norway are usually so good. At this point in the game, 18-all, they've been figuring out stuff. Where does Christian go? Because that tells you everything they've gathered to this point.
We'll go right to Alayo. Alayo, cut shot, good patience from Sørum. Chance in transition, he squeezes it through. And Alayo's arguing about something, not sure if he has something to argue about.
A net touch, I think.
But you said it, Denise, this is where Norway turns into that next level, ups the intensity a little bit, the focus. They get the turn defensively. It's been side out after side out for Cuba. And then, of course, late game with all these Vikings, here they come.
And so I always say to players, what just happened? So Christian served middle to Alayo. Alayo was then forced to go on the back set, but then the wind is a little bit more unpredictable. So then he went into a shot. Christian gets involved. Maybe they got lucky with the net touch, but they got the defense, which is what they were looking for. So it's always remembering what just happened, and that statistical gathering is a real key component in the Norwegians' way of playing, and that is the thing that defines them. Francisco Alvarez in the box for Cuba. Just sitting, taking it all in. They really do know what they've got to do.
Starts with the pass here for Cuba. Alayo. Overhead, good crack from Alayo. Just kind of using the flow there and sneaking it under the block.
And a mix-up from Christian, going short, trying to dismantle the runway of Alayo. Hard to do, but he did a fantastic job of kicking back and opening up that approach to attack.
Fadeaway set from Mole, and somehow Sørum works the Christian Sørum magic right through the block of Alayo.
So once Sørum knows he's under pressure with the set, because he's got to look at Anders for a longest of time. If he accelerates up, he can sense what's happening with the block, and that is his superpower. The ability to draw the block out and then work his way through.
Set point number one here for the Vikings. Mole tries to change it up and head the way of Diaz. I like the idea, but into the net. So now we're all tied up 20 apiece. Alayo, too much there. So a little bit of deja vu as Cuba gives it right back to Norway. Set point number 2. They will stay on Diaz. Diaz trying to chip to the line, and Anders acknowledging that there is a touch. I think Osvaldo saw it as well.
And it's definitely one of the single most honest players out there when it comes to block touches. As much as it breaks his heart, he just cannot not call it. That's the integrity, there's authenticness to the way Anders plays, and we love that about him.
21 all. To the middle. Mole, quick line, lots of room to work with there for Anders.
And I like the way Anders stayed in. With that wind, you don't want to push too far out because there's more likely to be a deviation. Just stay close, put it up and down, open up the line because you've gone quicker, and you know Anders loves that back to the line shot.
Third set point. Quick serve on the line. It's going to be an overpass kill for Anders Mole, doing all the work on that final point.
Phenomenal serve down the line. Really, really difficult to receive. We know that is the problem area. They were targeting it relentlessly, and Anders finally caught one that was perfect, got the overpass, but he's in there quickly, and he doesn't shy away from putting away that second ball, or that first ball.
Yeah, and Anders serving well in that one. He only had 3 serving errors, but he got 2 aces as well. And then I don't know if they're going to count that last ball as an ace, but might as well count it as an ace that ends up. But just calibrating, feeling out the wind. That's what's going to happen in those first sets. Teams are going to figure out, is my jump serve on? Does it feel good? Is it working with the wind? Am I finding success? And so Norway, no one better at the data collection.
No, absolutely. And it's always interesting. People think about how to scout their opponents, but then you've got to flip the switch and think, what are they going to do to us, and how are we going to get ourselves out of it should they do that? So if they're serving Christian, and as we know is starting to wind up on that second ball, especially in this difficult corner for Christian. We saw that release, just the one, but it was enough that maybe it frightens Cuba away from that. And yeah, just incredible court awareness and reading the room every single point, every single time. What's it telling you?
Good pace there, but handled well from Mole. Oh, another rip from Anders Mole, who looks very comfortable right now inside out.
And if that's your game plan and they're sticking to it, I like the fact they're sticking to it. Go for it. Don't let Christian slip in, though, because that gives Anders a little bit of breathing room. It's the long game. That if you're playing the long game, you've got to play it every single time at him. That's where you get potentially a wearing down of Anders.
Short serve. Alayo. No approach, no problem for Jorge Alayo. I'm pretty sure he can jump just as high off of just a step closed than a full runway.
I mean, that's the blocker's life, isn't it? No approach to hit.
Goodness gracious. And so Anders has been served 6 times. Sørum has been served 12 here as we go into the start of the second set. Nice pace on that one from Alayo. Off speed, Cuddy there. Good change up from Mole.
That was very, very clever. He was in a really difficult position, quite far off the net. The temptation would be to try and beat Jorge Alayo. That's where the space was behind, but it was too much pressure. And the snap from Anders in that situation, incredible.
Inside set for Diaz. Anders goes right with it, but it leaves enough space down the line for Diaz to slap it down.
And what was really nice, Diaz did a hand up early, and then he just waits, his elbow up early, and then he waits for Anders to move and then finds the line.
High set for Mole. And a little early on that approach, and there is Alayo getting in the way of the swinging of Anders Mole.
Beautiful, patient blocking from Alayo. He sees that he's dismantled Norway, has to remain patient, and just pouncing on the roll shot from Anders.
Oh, what a change up there from Diaz. That is filthy down the line on Sørum.
Cuba really kicking out at the start, and you want to see that from Lozan Diaz. He's not being served. He hasn't been hitting very much. We've hardly seen him. So why not take a rip from the service line and really go after it? This is what you want if you're a Cuba fan.
Noslin again. This one in the middle. Whoa. Anders comes right back and hits one right up the seam.
Beautiful link play from Christian. Bring it down a little bit and also bringing it on a little bit. So then he can use that explosiveness of Anders and accelerate the attack.
3-4 here in set number 2. It's men's quarterfinals. If you're just joining us, Alayo and Diaz losing that first set. Alayo for the cut shot. Good scramble play from Norway. Diaz fake outside, come inside and go back to the line. A little trickery there from Cuba.
You cannot state how difficult what Nozlan Diaz just did. A wipe off from the middle to the outside as a right-hander. Very, very clever approach.
And it's important to move the ball around when you're playing Anders ball. Advantage him when you're up and down constantly. And look at the slicing and dicing of Anders Mol there on that option.
And Nozlan Diaz caught a little bit not ready on his starting blocks. You could see Anders coming up. He was waiting a long time before he got that contact. And in that moment, Nozlan has got to set his defense to be able to move and accelerate towards that ball.
Or serving 5. Mol's been very comfortable from that side on the serve. Good read from Sørum sliding in, but just a little too spicy from Alayo.
And Alayo, he's just one of the best thumpers of the ball. He really has got one of the most lucid shoulders. The weight he puts on it, the off-gravity contact that he makes, that's what we want to see.
Sørum takes his look. Chop shot. Diaz with a great touch there. Almost trickling over the net for Diaz.
Better hold from Diaz. That's what we want to see. And moving in the right direction. At the start of this match, he was getting his eye in. He was really set. But Norway weren't as crisp. Now they're being crisp. He's got to be more disciplined. Hold down, press, and then go after what he sees.
Wow, forced to the middle. Trying to come back to the line, and there is the handwork of one of the best of all time.
You feel it's only a matter of time. That calibration of where is he going. They're drawing him into the middle. Cuba are running this middle play, tempting into hitting that big crossbody here, and then ta-da!
Surprise Anders there again for block number 4. Good rip there for Diaz, just challenging that block of Anders.
Yeah, Diaz's contact point is high. We talked about this before in other broadcasts about the wingspan of certain players. I would love to see one, definitely know exactly how tall they are, but definitely how wide are they?
Diaz, one of the longest defenders that we have on the tour. Probably the biggest. Good read from Diaz, but just shooting that pass. Great timing on that movement from Cuba to set up that defensive play.
Yeah, jumping late into the angle, running late to the line. It's hard when you are going that late to then get fixed and control it. So he did a good job of getting hold, but that is the peril of going so late because you can't get dug in and you're relying on the shape of your platform instead of the stability of your feet coming up into the ball to control the defense.
7 apiece. Much different start here to set number 2. Alayo, lob set out wide. Alayo, just enough room on the line. He loves to hit that ball.
Love that. Different tempo pace. Ping it out fast. Alayo's waiting for it, and that crossbody. Anders just apologizing to Christian, saying, I can get that.
Eight serving 7. Diaz trying to use the tape. It will not clear the crowd with the oohs and ahs as they've adopted this Cuban team here in Rio.
I'm sure they just want it to go to 3 just so they get to see more beach volleyball. I know I do.
Tight pass. Alayo with the knuckle poke to the cutty. It is dug. Sørum wanted the shoot set. Not going to get it, but that is played off the block. Alayo saying it was not.
Those are incredibly hard to tell. Did it touch the blocker or didn't it? But if it kicks onto the top of the net band, the referee is pretty much going to assume that it has kicked off of you because it's almost impossible to tell. But if you get a redirect or a different change of direction, the referee's probably going to give it to the attacking team, mostly.
Alayo out wide. Alayo says, I see you in the angle, but I do not care. Just continuing to batter balls.
And Alayo's preparation to serve. I love the way he goes back and takes a big breath, getting ready to commence.
Low pass here for Sørum. Sørum to the seam again. He's a seam wizard. I don't know how he does it.
He's got this vision when he goes up and his elbow's up high, so he can just wait to release it. It's not like it's part of a really big extended swing. So thereby, what's the word, bending just from the elbow, as opposed to using the shoulder and the back and everything else. It allows him to stall that hit.
And the tricky part of that short serve, as Anders figures out there, is that makes for that easy option from Noslin.
And I like that. Noslin's got to keep inserting himself into the game. It's a lot of hard work for Jorge Alayo. So, you know what? Help a friend out as much as you can.
Help a partner out. To the middle. Good pace from Diaz. Mole. Off speed. Just using that vision. Not too much work. They're just calm swing from Mole.
Yeah. The set went a little further off the net than he had anticipated, so you're almost jumping backwards to create the opportunity to hit. And then in that situation, when the power has gone, it's the smartness has got to kick in. So my biggest thing is stay strong until you have to be smart. And that's exactly what Norway do over and over and over again.
You said it, little off the net, no problem for the Volley Vikings. And after the 6-1 deficit in set number 1, it is a completely different set number 2 here, as the Vikings holding on to just a 1-point lead over Cuba. But clearly the Vikings going to stay on Alayo. He's seen 21 serves in this one. Noslin has seen just 8. And so, you know, a little battle of attrition, see if they can wear down Alayo. And he puts so much energy into his jump, in addition to having to block and jump every single play. And so you mentioned it before, Denise, as the match progresses, and we saw it earlier in the tournament with Alayo, you start to get that fatigue. You start to lose a little bit of that height.
You're playing the long game. It's the war of attrition, and it's just slowly, slowly, slowly picking away at a player.
Sørum kicking up some sand, calculating, calibrating. 11-10. Trickle serve. Not much of an approach for Alayo, and that one is going to be advantage Anders right in front of his face.
And Norway have been searching for that block out of that kind of short serve position, and they finally got it. With the wind behind him, drifting that set a little bit into Anders' hands, couldn't find his way through.
You see a little more variety here from Alayo. And there's the cutty, but it's picked up from Sørum. Nice touch from Alayo with that poke, but it goes into the net. Alayo making the right read, getting back to defense, gets his hand up.
Do we want to talk about that first ball receive? I think we should do.
You didn't like it?
No, because it wasn't hard driven. It came out spinning like mad, so I would normally say that's definitely a double, the way he contacted it. Norway did a very good job of remaining calm, and the fact they got the point, they just didn't even give Osvaldo Summerville any kind of hassle, because, you know, why prod the dragon kind of thing? You don't want to, you know, exacerbate any situation, but I'm not sure about that contact.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was a flat float swing from Sørum, which is pretty standard for Christian Sørum. Wasn't a ton of pace, but he was maybe above the net, and so those are such tricky plays for the referee. That's why we are so fortunate to not be in the ref shoes and be up on the stand. We don't envy you, Osvaldo. We pop into the timeout here with Cuba. Yeah, there's a few judgment calls the referees have to make. The setting is a big judgment call, and then those plays right there, the hard-driven balls, whether it's hard-driven, whether it's not hard-driven. But Norway staying strong. They will continue to play. See how Cuba can respond here. High pass from Alayo. Oh, my. And Anders is dialed in up at the net right now.
Great serve from Christian Sørum. He's got him a couple of short ones, and he just kicks it up, so then it catches Alayo backwards. So then they're dismantled from the get-go. He hangs with Noslan Diaz, but Mol holding on.
Out wide, Alayo. There's a nice change up from Alayo. That one's going to land in.
So clever. Nice to see him go, okay, not again. I'm not going anywhere near you, Anders. Can I get up and over you? Yes, you can. He's been fantastic hitting over Anders' ball.
And that's part of the evolution for this Cuban team and for Alayo, using some more of those shots, trusting that vision. Sørum. Not much approach for Sørum as he slaps it down the line for the kill.
He has got the single best hammer in the business. It's just literally his elbows up, he's waiting to see where you are, and he can just decide so late. That is his absolute superpower.
15-11. Norway trying to close this one out in 2, and Mol was looking for all of it there. Misses by a few inches. I like this talk from Alayo, looking at Noslin, saying, hey, this is what I want. Short serve to Mol. Quick snap from Mol. What an angle there, barely any approach.
I know what they're looking for. We talked about it, serving Jorge Alayo short so that he hasn't got the runway. However, Anders answering the call, just does exactly that, retracts, give himself some wind. I'd love to see Noslin go for some big serves, you know, using the wind, the crosswind.
Inside set, Alayo snapping it to the line there, and that quick set kind of forces Norway to make a quick decision defensively. Doesn't get the read.
And a lot of the time, Norway just read what they see. So they trust each other to go after the ball if it's close to the net. They'll take a zone if it's a little bit further away.
Sørum, nice dig from Diaz. This is a little bit tight, but Alayo wins that joust there. It's been quiet defensively for Diaz. He comes up with a big one.
That is a huge point. Massive. Jorge Alayo really holding on, getting his wings on, and just forcing it around. And Anders going for a Kong block when maybe 2 around the ball would have been the answer. But Jorge on the service line.
Sørum. The second time, that has been his bread and butter in this match. The flat spatch to the seam.
And you cannot state enough how Anders, after that set and this beautiful finish, says, well played, partner, because he knows he's put him in peril off the net. He's having to solve problems that maybe Anders could have helped a little bit with. And he's like, thanks, partner. You've got us.
Low pass from Alayo. Quick offense. That one off the block and out of bounds for Alayo. Holds on.
What does Noslin do right now? You know, I'd love to see him take a rip. He's got the wind in his face.
Like that serve, but what a pass from Sørum. Oh, and Sørum into the net, and the pressure from Noslin there is good enough to cause the chaos and the swing error.
And you just got to say, look what I just did. Took Sørum to the floor. It was difficult for him to get back up. We just took him apart from the pressure from the serve, and I love that. That is exactly what Cuba need, and they forced Norway to take the timeout.
Things getting tense here in set 2. The 16-12 lead has evaporated. Now just down 1 for Cuba. The service pressure from Noslin there, and that has been the good side in this match. That's why Norway picked that side to start, and that seems to be where more of the service points and service pressure has been coming from on that far side.
We had the outlier at the very beginning, 6-1.
Yes, that's the only outlier, for sure.
But after that, it's definitely business as usual at the far end.
Right here, we're going to be good, yeah?
And again, Adrian just deferring to his team, letting them do the game planning, just being that support system there. One pass here for the Vikings. Mol. High swing, and Mol does not get on top of that ball. So back-to-back hitting errors here for Norway.
And quite far off the net, expecting it a little bit further, but big point for Cuba.
And we're all knotted up, 17 apiece, with the service pressure from Noslin. And that one into the block of Diaz, and the side outflows continue for the Vikings.
Phenomenal serving by Noslan, and that is a case of taking a rip. Don't worry where the ball goes. You're not worried about serving any particular person. Go after the zones, go after your speed, maximum pressure. Just have fun on the service line, and he certainly is. 18-17, big turnaround.
Love the whippy arm here from Diaz. Can generate so much power. Such good RPMs. There it is again. What a set from Sørum. Are you kidding me? Huge save on that tight pass.
Absolutely incredible. Beautiful bump set, playing right into Sørum's ability to just control that platform, extend it. And Anders just holding back so beautifully, quite relatively far off the net, and just nailing that deep corner.
Oh, and Sørum there. Big error, giving Cuba that 1-point lead right back.
The score right now, Norway 18, Cuba.
Cuba relying on their defense here because Alayo is going for a more slower serve, just targeting Anders.
Tight ball. Into the block of Alayo. Alayo has come alive here late in the second, and they have their first set point.
And we talked about serving somebody in rhythm. It allows you to have almost tempt them into a big swing, and what a moment for Alayo.
Right back to Anders. Big swing here. Anders trying to go high and over, but they're going to get the touch. Anders pointing to Alayo, but Osvaldo sees it. Alayo not even needing to call his touch there because Sumaville identifying it. Anders with a wry smile as well.
They are playing nice at this tournament, and the referees have definitely appreciated a lot more owning up to touches.
Second set point for the Cubans. Mole's trying to go for it, but it goes into the net. And Cuba come roaring back in set number 2. Take the W. It means we're going extra innings in our first quarterfinals. This is what the fans wanted. This is what we wanted, Denise, actually, selfishly.
And I just have to finish on that one. How important is it that you wipe your sunglasses and don't rush back? Make Anders wait, and they got the error on the serve, and that is big. That's an absolute pro going, okay, you've just caught my fingertips, you got lucky because you really went out. I'm going to make you wait, and he got the result he's looking for.
Just the slight icing of Anders there on that glasses wipe, and of course, you get sweaty, sweat's going to come in the glasses, sand's going to come in the glasses. You could glasses wipe every point if you really needed to.
I did see the referees stop players doing that yesterday because they overdid it.
Look at the stats here. 3 blocks apiece. It came late for Alayo in that second. Just 1 ace for Cuba. Service pressure was good, though, from Norway. But it's Cuba, and the 5 errors for Norway. Albeit small, but 2 for Cuba, and so it's a big difference.
Yeah, massive. But that's also Norway will then say to themselves, okay, we just rein in our errors. Then we're not playing badly. It's what we're doing to ourselves, not what they're doing to us necessarily.
Start of set number 3 in our first men's quarterfinal. Alayo out of the middle. And Alayo, he's gotten Anders a couple times with that swing, but this time just sharp enough around.
And that's kind of what you want. Anders taking a zone so he opens up a space for you, because Christian's going into that line and he couldn't get there in time.
Short serve from Noslin. Mole overhead, off speed. Noslin is there. In transition, this is where he is deadly on a quick 2-0 start for Cuba.
And the roll shot to the cross. Noslin probably could not believe his luck, but the movement afterwards to make sure he takes himself to the far side of the court, away from the top referee, to find that freedom to attack.
Middle, tough ball the way of Norway. Aggressive swing, just challenging that big block of Alayo.
But it's skin in the game. I haven't talked about that much, but it's getting hands on the ball. It's getting the pressure. And he's forced Anders to make a few roll shots away from him, and that have been dug. So this is big pressure movement from Cuba.
Alayo has been a force at the net this tournament. Perfect pass. Out wide. Alayo in a good rhythm right now, confident.
And Anders mixing up the angle that he serves Alayo on. However, he's got to work really hard to get in on that long angle, and then from that they send it out to the pin. So that's really good by Cuba, making Anders at the max work of his potential.
There's tight ball. There is Alayo. Oh goodness, he's turned into a monster right now.
What a moment. Cuba keeping it on Anders and making sure that they're going back to their game plan. And Norway forced into a timeout, 4-1 down.
And you love to see the pressure on Anders. For the last 8 years, it has been the Christian side out show because teams are so afraid to serve Anders. And so I like to see what Anders does when he gets pushed. And he's gotten more serves this year than I've ever seen in their career, in my opinion. And so I love seeing, you know, not that I'm happy to see them struggling or happy to see Cuba winning, but I want to see the bag of Anders Moll. I want to see what shots he's going to use, what variety.
Yeah, and Anders did say it could go anyway with any team at any time, and that's the good thing about where we're at in the beach volleyball world right now, is the depth of competition has been incredible throughout 2025. And that's exciting heading into Adelaide and the World Championships.
And you talk about the depth, you look at Job Lasola, Calvin Aye, and Remy Basso coming from the qualifier to take a silver medal in that event. That just shows you how deep it is. Any team from the qualifier can find their way into the finals on the women's or the men's side.
Just for the viewers' information, it looks like there's a bit of an injury in the Norwegian box right now. So we've got the medical team coming in to deliver some treatment. Whether it's a medical timeout and it's a blood timeout, or whether it's a RIT, which is a recovery interruption time, which every player is allowed to take one of per match.
Yeah,
so you only get the one, but we're not exactly sure yet because we haven't had a signal from the referee. And the signal for a medical timeout or a blood timeout is the same as a recovery interruption time.
Yeah, so it's a little bit tricky, even for us here in the booth, and the refs don't even have a call for the difference.
The second referee, Giuseppe Curto, has just signaled that maybe it was a thumb.
Yeah, I saw the trainer, strength trainer Hannes for the Norwegians come over with some tape to try and tape up the thumb of Anders. Not sure if he got hit maybe, and when you're playing the sluggers that are Cuba and the power that they bring and the life of a blocker, the poor fingers of Anders Moll over the years, you're bound to take a couple bruises, a couple bent fingers back, a couple sprains, so it's quite possible he might have had a quick little sprain there with one of the fingers.
Yeah, men and women, Cuba are renowned for going after hands. It's just the way they've always played, and you do take them at your peril. I'm always surprised at how little actually Anders has had his hands taped up over the years that he's been playing. He's managed to avoid that kind of big taping of the hands.
Yeah, you look at Jonathan Helvig, who always seems to have some tape on the fingers or the hand, and so, you know, the life of a blocker, it's not an easy one. Just getting hit over and over again. And these balls, yes, they are a little soft, but the power that some of our players swing with can be rather dangerous.
And Norway traveling with their physio, and they said that actually is the most important member of the staff that travels with them all the time. They wouldn't have been able to play as well as they have and as much as they have this season without him. And I was talking to Matthias and Hendrik and saying, yeah, for us, absolutely, we wouldn't be here, and definitely for Christian and for Anders as well.
Yeah, so shout out to all the physios out there with the teams, and Hannes here with Norway, and it's such a crucial a part of our sport that a lot of fans just really don't see of how much time is spent with trainers and physios to keep the body healthy. Athletes are traveling all around the world, playing back-to-back events at times. And so this sport, it can be brutal. Yes, the sand is soft, but you will take a beating. And so it's so important to stay healthy, and to have the support staff with you is crucial.
I was talking to the USA support staff, the 2 physios that they got with them, and in the beginning they got 10 teams. Or is it 10? Yeah, 10 teams. So they've got 20 players that they're managing and looking after. So by the time they get to this point in this tournament, they're pretty tired, to say the least, and they're quite glad they've lost a few along the way, because they've been working really, really hard.
It's a lot of work scheduling those. I've been there, having to schedule with our physios on the road, and there's so many USA teams. Some federations with a bit more teams than others, and so luckily USA has 2 physios here to offset some of that workload. But it looks like Anders is all taped up. We get back to action, but Cuba, a nice 4-1 start in this 3rd and final set. And that one into the net for Alayo. You had a lot of time to think about that one.
I think that's right back at you for the sunglasses at the end of the 2nd set. But different context.
Different context. Funny how that works, though. But that is the coach's nightmare right there. Missing the serve after the timeout. Diaz. High over the top of Anders' ball. Unbelievable.
And it is an incredible height contact that he hits from. And the fact that he is hitting over Anders is outrageous, as Damien Searle would say.
Diaz, just 23 years young. Sørum takes his look, and that one is going to be good. Little confusion there for Cuba.
Good vision from Christian coming in, just taking his time. And it's so calm when he's in the air, isn't it? He just doesn't give you anything as well. Really hard to get the tells.
Deep float from Anders is quite long.
Anders takes a look at the taping on his hand and thinking, not quite used to having that on my hand when I hit that ball.
Might take a couple plays to get comfortable with that tape job. Better believe Cuba's just going to continue to attack that tape. Struggle on this pass. It's a tight play at the net. Trying to recycle is Anders, but it's going to be a stuff for Alayo.
Really nice work by Alayo. Has to make sure he guarantees it over the net. Doesn't want to get like a cavity wall so that he can get it through, but also pushing it away from Christian as well, because there was no recovery. Anders is looking for where Christian is, and he's nowhere to be found.
7-3. Cuba in control of this 3rd set. To the line. Barely missing there as Diaz follows it all the way, and the woes continue for Norway.
Big pressure at the net from Alayo. Anders not happy with the taping. He's ripping it off right now. He's definitely not comfortable with how it feels. He's sort of taken a bit of it out, and he's got a long, straggly bit hanging around.
Yeah, and sometimes that tape can be so firm, you lose some of that range of motion of your thumb, which is such a crucial part of your range. And that one, it doesn't matter, tape or no tape, Alayo says, give me all that.
Alayo disciplined, and this has just been like a slight nemesis if you're going to be overly critical over Alayo. Sometimes just maybe going a little bit early, giving something to work around. But right now his timing is such that Anders cannot figure it out.
Overhead, Anders, drop shot. Good full layout from Diaz using that length. Sørum in transition, not going to clear the net. And Cuba just on an unbelievable run right now.
The sublime pickup of Diaz, #1, but the pick back at Norway, so he cuts it, so he takes Sørum to the floor when they were in a really not very advantageous position, and getting the error from Christian because he made him work.
Anders up and down. High line swing. Alayo says that's okay. It's a good swing. On to the next.
So Christian right now, he made some early service errors that just allow Cuba to feel relaxed. Right now, he's got to ramp it up. He's not being served. What can he do from the service line?
No slim. Out of the middle. Good read from Sørum. Sørum with nobody up. Diaz with the scoopy. And Diaz delivers. Goodness me. No slim Diaz coming up clutch.
Huge Huge adjustment by Diaz in defense, understanding the attack lines of Christian Sørum, sitting in the pocket and controlling Sørum because Sørum wasn't as close to the net as he needed to be. And what a big play by Diaz.
Anders still struggling to find his side out rhythm as that chop goes off the net and out of bounds.
The Cuban defensive pressure, the mix-up on serves, the pressure on Anders that they've been going after predominantly.
And finally, Cuba misses a serve, and that has been key for them, just keeping the pressure on Norway with the limited service errors here in this third set. Anders going to try and ramp up his pressure to see if he can get back into this match. That one will go long, and Cuba can sniff the semifinals.
Yeah. This is a massive moment for Cuba. They've only played each other once before. Norway 1 in 2 before, but now Cuba piling on the pressure.
Short line or deep line poke. Noslin is there early. And Noslin with the deep wrap to the angle, and now Cuba have a ton of match points.
Beautiful vision, deep into the bottom corner, impossible to defend, and Cuba, you would not have put money on this scoreline coming into this.
And Mole shanking the pass for the ace. Unbelievable.
Huge win for Cuba. The service pressure, the strategy paid off, and well played. You've got to say hats off to all the team that put that in.